Hello Booktube, I'm Nicole, this is Dusty Book Sniffers, and today we're here to talk about the book The Island of Missing Trees by Elif, and I'm not going to say her last name because it comes out like a swear word every time. So let's get into it. Alright, so this is a group read that we have been doing for the month of October. I have a fair few book group reads going on at the moment, so I just had to think which month it was for. Okay, so this is the October group read over at Dusty Book Sniffers Reading Nook, and this was shortlisted. So what we're doing at the moment, there was a bit of a discussion way back where a lot of us had not read any of the books on the shortlist, and myself included. I'd heard a couple of them, but I hadn't read them, and so we decided to make the shortlist a group read for the end of the year. So basically, each month we're reading a different book, and I think maybe one of them wasn't on the shortlist. It may have been on the long list. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty... maybe 90% sure that they were all on the shortlist. This was one of them. You can say it's got the sticker on it. This was a pretty interesting book. Now, it's got William Boyd on the front, magical. Reese Witherspoon says powerful. Mary Beard says wonderful, and Ian McEwan says the author is a unique and powerful voice in the world of literature. So it's got some they put William Boyd on here twice, but okay, he must have had a lot to say. But anyway, it is a historical fiction. It is set in 1974 up until 2010, I think it is, or 2012, something like that. So we've got two timelines. It's actually telling the story of a young girl in present day that is struggling to know her place in the world. Well, this is what I took from it. She is struggling to find her place in the world because she knows nothing about her parents' past family, their history, or anything like that. She doesn't even really know how they met or anything like that. And the reason being is because in 1974, when they had met, they were teenagers, and now is it her mother? I think her mother was a Turkish Cypriot and her father was Greek, or was vice versa. Cyprus was a divided nation at that point in time because you had the Turkish on one side and then you had the Greeks on the other side, and the two should never meet, basically. If their relationship had been found out by their families, they would have been in a lot of trouble and all that sort of stuff. So basically, the 16-year-old in London, which is decades later, Ada is her name, she is trying, she's never visited where they were from, she's never heard anything about family. Her mother had recently passed, and that's how the sort of book starts. You know that the mother has passed. And so she is struggling to come to terms with the fact now she has this strained relationship with her father, but she really doesn't know anything about them. And then this auntie turns up who she's never met, knows nothing about, and she doesn't want to meet her because in her eyes they have betrayed her in a way because they didn't turn up to her mother's funeral, and she wants to know why, but at the same time she doesn't want to know why. And so the unique thing about this book, though, is it's telling the story, but it's also telling the story from the perspective of a fig tree. Okay, yes, you heard me right, from a tree. So basically we start off, as I said, with Anna telling her side of why she doesn't want to meet the auntie and stuff like that. But we're also getting, at the same time, we're getting the narrative from the tree that is talking about how her parents met and the circumstances in which they found themselves. So it's in 1974 in Cyprus, and it's very, very much war-torn. There's a lot of political unrest and all that sort of stuff. There's protests and all sorts of stuff happening around that time. I mean, just look it up. You'll know what I'm talking about then. So we have Daphne, she is Turkish, and Kostas, I think is how you pronounce Kostas is how you pronounce his name. He's Greek. Okay, so basically it starts out with them, one of them sneaking out to meet the other, and they're doing it all very secret, hush hush, and all the rest of it. Families don't know, but her sister sort of knows about it because she's sneaking out. And then they decide that they need to find somewhere where they can meet without being suspicious, like not getting noticed by the community at large that they're sneaking around to see each other. So they choose to go to this tavern, and the reason that they go to the tavern is because he goes there to deliver food from his mother to the people that own the tavern, and so it's easy for him to be there, and it's not out of the ordinary for her to go there either. So they've picked that neutral place, and they've got a room in the back where they can eat, drink, talk, and just be with each other. And this fig tree grows in the center of the tavern. So the tavern is around the fig tree because there was it's a whole thing. So obviously that's the beer, like what we would equate as a beer garden or an outdoor, not even an outdoor area. There was just a hole in the roof and this fig tree's grown. And so what is really interesting about it is you're getting the perspective of all the different players that are all the characters that are in the book. Except for the young girl, because she's not been there. And it's just telling their story of how they met, what happened, how they separated, how they've come back together. Also, what's happened to other people that were in the story as well, such as the tavern owners and stuff like that. And it's all told from the perspective of this tree. Very, very interesting. I loved how it was written. I really enjoyed the layout of the story, how it was written, and the ending was just beautiful, like absolutely beautiful. I really, really enjoyed this story. I have given it, what did I give it? I gave it a 4-star rating. At first I went, 3 stars, and then I'm like, no, hang on a second, because it stayed with me days after, just thinking about, how they were separated and how they come back together, how the young girl was born, and the tragedy of them being separated for so long, and all from the perspective of this tree. But not only the perspective of the tree, because remember, the tree can't move to know what's going on in and around the tavern and stuff like that, but different things happened in the book, and then the tree tied it all up by insects coming, and then there was a mouse that told their little snippet of the story, and it was just really interesting. I have never read anything like this before, and it basically, it's a 4-star rating. I wouldn't say it's a phenomenal book. There were some moments in the book where I just went, really? I don't think so. Like, you could have elaborated a bit more on that or added a little bit more in there. But, I mean, it's her story and that's how she told it. But that was just my opinion. But it has definitely made me go and look at the other books that this author has, because she's a new to me author. And that's sort of what I was... There's a fly flying around. And that's sort of what I was going for with the book club that we've got going over there for the shortlist, is to have us step out of our comfort zone and read something different. And maybe find a new favourite author. And I definitely love how she's written this book. I really thoroughly enjoyed it, hence the 4 stars. And I'm looking forward to reading more from her, because I think just the way she wrote, I really connected with this book, and I really connected with the characters. I would have liked a little bit more on the tavern owners who are homosexual, and basically, and I think she's got a story there. Like, she could write a story there, and they were also Greek and were they Greek and Turkish? I can't remember whether they were one from each side or whether they were. I can't remember now. That's terrible. I don't think it was mentioned, to be honest. But anyway, there was a story there as well, and it's all interconnected, and it was all interwoven, really beautifully done. And basically, and even the part with her meeting her auntie, and it wasn't a great deal, and she was a little bit of a whiny teenager, and I just don't have the tolerance for whiny teenagers. When I read, I've got 2 teenagers, I don't need to read about whiny teenagers. It's not that my girls are whiny, but every now and again they get on their little soapbox and they're a little bit whiny. But yeah, so I don't like reading about that, and that's sort of the only thing that drew it back from. And it's not a lot of whine, it's just that that's where I'm at in my life, so I don't want to read about it. But other than that, it was a fabulous story. I didn't know how I was going to go. And the cover is beautiful. The cover is really drawn me in as well. But I didn't know how I was going to go with it. For the simple fact is that it was, shortlisted, and it was told from the perspective of a tree. And I did know that because I had seen this on Savage Reed's long list when he talked about it there, but I couldn't remember what the story was about. I just knew it had the perspective of a tree. But it's a 4-star read from me. I highly recommend you picking this up. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm sure you will too. I know that some of the people on the channel are currently reading it as well. I haven't yet heard their thoughts, so I hope I haven't spoiled it for them at all, which is good. Because they already know that it's from the perspective of a tree. But if you haven't picked this up yet, I highly recommend it. And yeah, come over and join the discussion over in our Discord. All that information is linked up down below, so you can come and see it. Come and see what's going on and what our next read is. I believe the next read is that we've got marked down is Sorrow and Bliss by Meg Manson, and I believe this is delving into the world of depression. So I don't know if it's going to bum me out or not. Because sometimes you can read about depression and you get a little bit bummed out. And I guess that's what they're trying to do. But yeah, I have not read anything up on this. I just know that it was on the short list. So, because it's got the sticker on, with the unremovable sticker. Does that tick you off too? So that is the next one that I'm going to be reading. So you will get to see that review either at the end of November or beginning of December, whenever I get to it. So basically, so this has, just for those that like to know, it has 342 pages in it, or 43, sorry, and then it's got some notes in the back. Okay, so there's just one bit that that sort of just sung to me. I really enjoyed this line, and I highlighted it straight away. And I don't normally mark my books either, so not with highlighters, maybe with pencil so I can rub them out later, but I've actually highlighted this. The tree, I believe it's the tree talking. Yes, the fig tree is talking. And she's talking about adventures and all that sort of stuff, and legends and all that sort of stuff in the book, right? And so basically I'm saying she because I feel like it's a she. I don't know why, it's just a she. Okay, I don't know why. Well, it bears fruit, so it's a female, so there you go. All right, so she's just talking about legends and all that sort of stuff, and she goes down and she's talking about the people, like storks passing over Cyprus and all that sort of stuff. And she goes, legends, I believe in legends and in the unspoken secrets they try to gently convey. And when I read that line, I'm just like, that is perfect. I love that. That is going in my reading journal for the quote of the month for October. It's not even a spooky one, and it's going in there because that's when I read it. But I just love it. I believe in legends and in the unspoken secrets they try to gently convey. And that is exactly what legends are. They are our ancestors that have passed down the spoken word. They're the books that we read that have the bits and pieces in it that we talk to each other about. And it was so poignant that I just absolutely loved it. And when you read this book and you get to that line, you will actually go, oh my God, I understand now. It is a fabulous book. If you haven't read this, I highly recommend that you pick it up. It's a 4-star rating from me, but that is it from me today. Have a lovely day, everybody. And remember, keep turning those pages, and I will see you all again next time. Bye for now.